So as you know, we've been talking about the theme of stories, and does anybody want to remind me what the theme is? Anybody? What is the theme of a story in general?
What is the theme of the story?
Yeah, just in general.
The main part, what's happening in the whole story.
The main part, what's happening. Anybody want to add on to that? Who's telling us the theme? Who's trying to give us the theme? Is it a character in the story or is it the author? Who wants us to know what the theme of the story is?
Wait. I changed that. I changed it back. A theme is a central topic.
Correct. It's the central or the main idea in a story that the author is trying to get across to us. So we talked about different ways that the theme can be shared, so to speak, by way of different story elements. I think yesterday or Tuesday, we talked about characters. So today we're going to continue and talk about the plot. So does anybody know what the plot of a story is? The plot is actually what happens in the story. So let's.
I was about to answer. I was about to ask what the question was.
Oh, okay. I'll wait a little longer next time. So on this page, you can see a story's plot can develop a theme. So analyzing the conflict and its resolution can help you determine a story's theme. For example, a conflict solved through curiosity or trying new things and exploring might reveal a theme of discovery. So how can a plot develop a theme? Well, in this example, John was upset when he did not make the team. Instead of letting the setback discourage him, he made himself practice more. His hard work paid off when he made the team the following year. So the resolution of this story develops the theme that hard work is worthwhile. So let's do some questions. So I'm going to read this passage out loud and then we'll answer the question over here. So in the first paragraph here, you see Kasim loved to play the saxophone. He would practice day and night ever since he could remember holding the instrument. He took private lessons. He was part of his middle school concert band. In his 7th grade year, he was promoted to first chair, the best in class. By the end of his 8th grade year, Kasim was looking forward to trying out for his high school's jazz band. It was very competitive and difficult to get in, so he would have to audition in his first week of 9th grade. He had been practicing for so many years. Kasim was sure he would get in. He went to auditions his first week in high school and played his heart out. He was certain he played better and had practiced longer than another saxophone player who auditioned. A week later, the results were posted. Kasim's name was not on the list. He didn't get in. His parents suggested he take a break from the saxophone and focus on his studies. Disheartened, Kasim stopped playing the saxophone for many months after that. He thought he would never get into jazz band. But halfway through the year, he missed playing. It was his passion, and his life felt empty without the saxophone's music in it, so he started playing again. He just played to have fun, falling in love with new songs and the way his fingers fluttered across the keys. The next year, Kasim auditioned again for jazz band. He didn't expect to get in, but he just played to have fun. This time, the jazz band director shook his hand and said, "Congratulations, Kasim, you're in. Welcome to jazz band." So which theme best supports the beginning of the story? So Kasim, he loved to play saxophone.
Follow your passion.
Follow your passion. Does everybody agree? I assume by...
Everybody is off. Corey's the only one in here.
I was going to say, I assume by your silence that you do.
What?
Right. Follow your passion. So Kasim loved playing the saxophone. So in order to continue that passion, he decided to try out for the jazz band. So let's go to the next one. All right. So we're going to select the part at the end of the story that shows the theme. Try again if you fail. All right. So I'm going to read this last part that's underlined. So remember, he didn't make it the first time, but he decided, and he gave up, but he decided he missed it. So he started playing again and then tried out later. So let's look and pick out the sentence that tells us the theme. Try again if you fail. So I'll start here. A week later, the results were posted. Kasim's name was not on the list. He didn't get in. His parents suggested he take a break from the saxophone and focus on his studies. Disheartened, Kasim stopped playing the saxophone for many months after that. He thought he would never get into jazz band. But halfway through the year, he missed playing. It was his passion, and his life felt empty without the saxophone's music in it, so he started playing again. He just played to have fun, falling in love with new songs and the way his fingers fluttered across the keys. The next year, Kasim auditioned again for jazz band. He didn't expect to get in, but he just played to have fun. This time, the jazz band director shook his hand and said, "Congratulations, Kasim, you're in. Welcome to jazz band." So if we were to pick one of these sentences that told us, try again if you fail being the theme, which one do you think? Would it be this one? A week later, the results were posted. He didn't get in, so he gave up. It would be halfway through the year, he realized that he missed playing, so he picked it up again. Or would it be this one? The next year, he auditioned again for the jazz band.
What was the question again?
So which one of those sentences reflects the theme, try again if you fail?
Okay. Try again if you fail.
Was it this one?
Last one. The last one.
The last one?
Yeah.
Correct. That one was pretty easy. Nice job. All right, so we're going to move on to setting, which is another story element. So the setting can also develop the theme. When we're analyzing the story's cultural values, historical context, or environmental or geographic setting can help develop a theme. How can setting develop a theme? Well, let's look at this example. Lola had not had a good day at school. She took her dog for a long walk in the park before dinner. The sun shone through the green spring leaves and birds sang in the treetops. She started to feel less anxious. This setting develops a theme of connecting with nature. So what is the setting in this little passage here? So where is this little passage? Where is she located? Anybody? Well, she's walking in the park and we determined that the theme is connecting with nature. What would this setting be? I think maybe in nature. All right, moving on. So in this example, which sentence in the passage best reveals the theme of the beauty of culture? So the beauty of culture will be the theme in this passage. We're going to pick out the sentence that best reveals that. So Anna loved everything about her tour through South America, but her favorite was the day with the alpacas. She and her family had been deep in the mountains, and one of the villages brought supplies up from the city. Anna was used to big cities in the United States where technology like trains and cars and trucks transported supplies from place to place. Here, the mountains were so rugged that roads would crumble apart, and alpacas were much better suited for the terrain than cars. Anna watched a whole line of alpacas with packs on their backs hike up the twisting, rugged trail towards their campsite. She was astonished by just how graceful they were, so much more beautiful than the ugly, noisy semi-trucks on highways. She wished the United States had kept some of these old traditions. So if we were to look at these three sentences, which one do you think better reflects the theme of the beauty of culture? So what did Anna see? What did she think when she saw some of these older traditions in South America? She loved everything about her tour. I mean, I guess that should suggest the beauty of culture, but it doesn't really talk about the culture much in that sentence, does it?
I know which one it is. You want me to just say it?
Yeah, you know which one. Say it and then tell me why you think that.
It's the last one.
This one? All right.
No, hold up. So the question was the beauty of culture. She was astonished by just how grateful they were. So much more beautiful than ugly, noisy semi trucks on the highway. No, that's not it.
Okay.
No, I'm just reading it. Anna used. No, that's not that one either.
So which one of these sentences talks about the culture of the South American country that she's in? Is it this one just talking about how she loved her tour? Is it this one talking about the United States?
Okay, go up, all the way up.
So let me ask you this: what is the setting of this passage? Where is she?
She's in South America.
South America. So it wouldn't be this sentence about the United States, right? She's not in the United States, right?
Yeah.
All right. So let's look at this first sentence. Anna loved everything about her tour through South America, but her favorite was the day with the alpacas. Is there anything?
No, it's the last one. Yeah, I should have just gone with that.
All right. Well, let me ask you this question first. In this first sentence, is there anything that talks about culture really in that sentence?
No.
So it's got to be this last one. And how do we know that? Well,
because it says she was astonished by just how grateful they were. Grateful, and that's a key word right there. So much more beautiful things than ugly. Noisy semi trucks on the highway. She's describing what's happening over there.
That's correct. Nice job, Taras.
Are you and Corey or McKenna gonna answer?
Apparently not. You got this.
Nah, bro, come on, bro. You not about to McKenna.
I already read it.
No, the answer. Way more questions. Y'all can start answering, boy.
Like the last 3 days, I've been the only one straight out of class answering the questions. So
you be sleep. I'm not. Right. You be sleep.
Let's go to the next one. And then, Corey, you want to answer this one for us after I read it?
Yeah.
All right. Anna loved everything about her tour through South America, but her favorite was the day with the alpacas. We just read this, but I'm reading it again. She and her family had been deep in the mountains, and one of the villages brought supplies up from the city. Anna was used to big cities in the United States where technology like trains and cars and trucks transported supplies from place to place. Here, the mountains were so rugged that roads would crumble apart, and alpacas were much better suited for the terrain than cars. Anna watched a whole line of alpacas with packs on their backs hike up the twisting and rugged trail towards their campsite. She was astounded by just how graceful they were, so much more beautiful than the ugly, noisy semi-trucks on highways. She wished the United States had kept some of these old traditions. So the question is, what does the mountain setting reveal about the theme? Is it cities are more beautiful, traditions can be strange, or nature can be powerful?
The second one.
Which one?
Yeah.
The second one?
Traditions can be strange.
I mean, why do you think that? What do you see in that passage that tells you that traditions can be strange?
They were so much more beautiful than the ugly, noisy semi-trucks on the highway.
That's not good. Bro, you cannot hit that. It's the first one.
Well, hang on. Let me.
What do you see about
the last one? I already did it.
All right, hang on. We got. Hang on. Taras thinks its cities are more beautiful. Corey thinks its traditions can be strange, and McKenna thinks its nature can be powerful. So let's look at it. So cities are more beautiful. We'll take that one first. Does it say anything? Does Anna talk about the big cities in the United
She said
States?
it one time in a sentence.
Where?
Yeah, I changed my mind. It's not that.
All right. Well, let's look at traditions can be strange. Does she
That's
ever?
not it.
Does she talk
McKenna, you got
about?
it right, McKenna.
All right, Taraz, but does she talk about the traditions being weird or anything like that? Remember,
No,
she
it doesn't.
talked about how graceful they were. The alpacas going up the mountains. They were so much more beautiful than the ugly cars. So that doesn't sound like she thinks those are strange, does it?
No, it's the last one because it's the last one because all it says is about nature and like mountains and like just nature in the world.
Let's look at this sentence here. Somebody's trying to get in. Unique. Good morning, Unique. Welcome. All right, so let's look at this sentence here that I've got highlighted. The answer is nature can be powerful, but why? How do we know that? Because in this sentence here, she talks about the mountains were so rugged that the roads would crumble apart and alpacas were much better suited for the terrain than cars. So she's saying there that the mountains can be so difficult to move through that cars can't even get up there. So that's pretty powerful that a mountain is preventing such a technological advancement from actually working or helping in this situation. So McKenna, nice job. But thank you all for participating there. All right. So let's review what we've learned about determining the theme of a story. And we're almost done after this. So a story's theme is an important idea the writer wants us to share. So Taraz, like you said earlier, it's the central idea. Writers can develop themes through setting, plot, and characters' actions in the story. So we just looked at a few examples of that. So we're going to read this passage together, and then we're going to answer the question, which element shows the theme patience pays off? All right? So I'll read this for you out loud. Once, Jess and Yara were at the park playing on the jungle gym. There were kids from all over town playing in a beautiful summer day. It was close to sunset when suddenly Yara's mom ran over and grabbed their hands. Jess, Yara, look, she pointed to the nearby woods. Just beyond the trees was a family of deer. A big buck was with his powerful antlers, a few does, and behind them tiny baby fawns only a few days old. They were
What
adorable.
was the question?
Well, we're not done yet. I'm sorry. I paused there for a second. They were adorable and spotted and still clumsy on their legs. Jess and Yara both squealed. When the other kids caught sight of the deer, they all were so fascinated that they shouted with excitement and walked too close to the woods to get a better view. Startled, the deer suddenly bolted into the trees and disappeared. Yara and Jess sighed with disappointment. Just wait, Yara's mom said. They'll come back. When? Jess asked. They waited and waited and waited. Yara's mom said it was important to remain still and be absolutely quiet to let the deer know it was safe to come back. The other kids left, bored and unwilling to wait until it was just Jess and Yara and their moms. It was getting dark by the time the deer, one by one, reemerged from the woods. The little fawns trailed close behind. Yara and Jess were so quiet the deer wandered very close, their babies almost within reach. Yara and Jess watched in awe. So the question is, which element shows the theme patience pays off? Is it the characters because the kids were noisy and chased away the deer? Is it the setting because the woods were dark after sunset? Or is it the plot because the deer came back when the girls were quiet? So in this question, we want to know which story element reflects the theme, patience pays off. So characters, setting, or plot?
Go ahead, Unique.
Yeah, who wants to answer this one?
I know the answer. I'm just saying, Unique, go ahead. It's your turn.
So let's look at the answers to the question first of all.
Wait. I know the answer. Come on, Unique.
I don't even know it. I wasn't even here for it.
He just read it.
Okay, but I'm doing the test at the same time.
But you just forgot her. She did just get in her cuss.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the third one. It's the third one.
Third one? All right, well, let's go through it let's go through them real quick and see why we answered it that way.
Man, it's the third one. Just hit it. I'm literally always correct. So go ahead, hit it, man. It's the right one.
Well, as soon as I do that, if it's right, I'm going to go through each answer so we know why it's right. Okay? All right. Keep up the good work. That is correct. But why do we know that? So in this first answer, the characters, is it the characters because the kids were noisy and chased away the deer? Did they get all noisy?
If it says noisy and chased away the deer, that does not mean patient. Setting because the woods were dark after sunset. That doesn't mean anything either. That just means where they were.
Right. So them being noisy and chasing away the deer has nothing to do with patience, right? That did not contribute to them being patient in the story. So the setting, because the woods were dark after sunset, does that contribute anything to the theme, patience paying off? It really doesn't, does it? That's just telling us where we were and what the setting, the surrounding area was like at the time. So it's the plot, because the plot kind of gives us clues about the theme of patience paying off. So the deers ran away, but the girls waited and waited and waited for the deer to come back, and they finally did. So that tells us the plot. What happened in the story gives us clues about the theme. All right, so I think this is the last one. Yeah, this is the last one. So I'm going to read this passage again, and we're going to select the sentence that best shows the theme. Patience pays off. Okay. So once Jess and Yara were at the park playing on the jungle gym. There were kids from all over town playing in the beautiful summer day. It was close to sunset when suddenly Yara's mom ran over and grabbed their hands. Jess, Yara, look. She pointed to the nearby woods. Just beyond the trees was a family of deer. A big buck with his powerful antlers, a few does, and behind them tiny baby fawns only a few days old. They were adorable and spotted and still clumsy on their legs. Jess and Yara both squealed. When the other kids caught sight of the deer, they all were so fascinated that they shouted with excitement and walked too close to the woods to get a better view. Startled, the deer suddenly bolted into the trees and disappeared. Yara and Jess sighed with disappointment. Just wait, Yara's mom said. They'll come back. When? Jess asked. They waited and waited and waited. Yara's mom said it was important to remain still and be absolutely quiet to let the deer know it was safe to come back. The other kids left, bored and unwilling to wait, until it was just Jess and Yara and their moms. It was getting dark by the time the deer, one by one, reemerged from the woods. The little fawns trailed close behind. Yara and Jess were so quiet, the deer wandered very close, their babies almost within reach. Yara and Jess watched in awe. So what sentence best shows the theme patience pays off? What does it mean to pay off?
Last one. Yasa and Jazz, well, I don't care what their name. We're so quiet, the deer. I don't care. It's that one.
So what is the payoff in that situation?
But the deer got close.
Right. Correct. Nice job, Taraz. That is exactly right.
Don't forget coming close. They came back, period.
Correct. That's also a payoff. They came back and they got very close when they did come back. So nice job, Corey and Taraz. Thank you. All right. So that is all for that assignment. So what I want you to do, if you haven't done it already, go back in and take this quiz. And I think I've got it set up in Google Classroom where you can go in and just turn it in so I know that you're done. If you have taken it and you're not satisfied with your grade, let me know and I can reset the quiz so you can take it again. So that is all we've got for today. Does anybody have any questions or concerns?